Hello and welcome to my couch. And you're going to watch a film with me. Bryce watches his own film. So I'm going to watch Second Sunrise. And if you haven't seen it, I'm going to put the link in the description. This was for a 24-hour documentary competition. We had to film it in a day. And we had as long as we wanted pretty much to edit it until the deadline. I ended up filming it about 2 weeks until the deadline. And the way that I found Butch was I kind of posted on Facebook in my area, like if there was anyone that had anything interesting going on or they were struggling with anything, because I like to tell stories of struggle or just something. I guess that's just kind of what I relate to, I suppose. And it came to where I was going to make a film about why you should cherish each day, because Butch had a lot to say, and I really like hearing advice from older people because I think that they have a lot of knowledge because they've lived for a while. And it kind of went into this story of loss and finding new love, and that's kind of what I ended up going with. And let's just go ahead and start the film, and I'll stop it here and there, and actually I'll probably stop it a lot and just chat about my ideas and why I got certain shots and things like that and just everything. I was on a bicycle for this shot, and it was on a gimbal, and he was riding a bike also. So this shot here, I purely got just because aesthetically I wanted it. There was no other reason for him to be riding a bike. That's actually not even his bike. He actually hadn't rode a bike in 5 years. And I don't know what it was. There's just something very nostalgic about an elderly person riding a bicycle, because we kind of sometimes associate, at least I do, associate like bicycles or bikes with, kids, like riding bikes around town and hanging out with their friends and stuff like that. So seeing an elderly person riding a bike is just kind of nostalgic, like they're going back to the youth, And I found a shot on Shot Deck that I really liked that I wanted to pretty much copy. And I was wanting it to be a pretty good, I was really hoping for a good sunrise. This was at about 5:15 in the morning. And we literally drove out I'm from this area, where the town is. So I kind of knew of this spot that we could go. And we pretty much drove there. The bike was in the back of his truck, and we got out, and I had my bike, and I was filming him, following him from behind with a gimbal, one hand on the bike, one hand holding the gimbal, and I had it locked, and we did that probably 2 times. And the sky, I think, turned out pretty good. I mean, it's real life, so it's hard to get it perfect. But I mean, yeah, he could have drove to the cemetery. There was just something about riding a bike to the cemetery that I kind of just thought was more interesting. So, take that for whatever you will. Maybe it's not real, or, maybe some people would say, oh, you have too much of a heavy hand in that, but that's my style. We talked about it. I made sure that he was okay with it. And so, yeah, that's why we did it.
It's been a while since I've been out here, hon, but you are always my first soulmate. We spent 41 years together, and I'm gonna kind of brush off your motorcycle here. It's little, it's got a little stuff on it.
So this is very, very specific, but in regards to shooting, I was holding the shot and I noticed that he was moving forward. And in a split second, I'm like, I don't really want to try to track him moving forward because the shot's going to be sloppy. So I held it until he kind of went almost out of frame. And then I quickly switched to this shot you see here. And then I held that until his hand was out of the way. And then I moved back into the position.
Oh, and I will take out my chew because I know you don't like me to chew. So I will do that. I do miss you. I think about you almost every day. And I've only had a few dreams about you. But one dream, we got to hug. And I cherish that more than anything.
So, for this scene here, we had talked about, because he would go and talk to Connie, his wife that he lost. He would go to the cemetery and talk with her every once in a while. And I said, well, when's the last time you've been there? And he said, oh, it's been about a month and a half. And I said, would you be open to us going there and filming you speaking with her? And he was open to it. And when he said he was open to it, I knew that I had a film. Like, I knew that I could open up the film with this. And I knew that I didn't want to film it during the day because of the light. And so, and I didn't really want to obviously film it in sunset because, you know, it's shot in one day. So it's like the only way to do it would be to wake up. I had to wake up at about 3 a.m. and drive an hour there. But for the reverse shots of him looking at her tombstone, I just told him, like, hey, can you just act like you're talking to her, or you could just kind of sit there and look at the headstone. And I just filmed some back shots for probably, I just filmed that reverse shot for probably, maybe 20, 25 seconds. So I had multiple that I can cut to if I needed. But I held the shot where he was talking for about 23 minutes because he talked for a while. And there was a couple breaks in between there where, he would pause and stuff like that. And when I would watch it back, when I was editing it, I would get really emotional by the things he said because they're obviously very beautiful. He knows he's being filmed as well. So, anyone that knows they're being filmed is going to act a little bit different. So I don't know if he was purposefully trying to be extremely poetic, but he's just a very well-spoken man anyways. And I was so focused that I didn't have really any emotion with what he was saying. I just knew that it was beautiful. And that just happens sometimes when you're just locked in. But I have cried filming before. I think with this, I was so locked in because I knew that I had to get it right because this was pretty much our only opportunity. Obviously with any documentary, but this was kind of like a planned scene that I had gone over with him and everything. So.
And the sun is coming up now, CJ. The brightness of the sun reminds me of the brightness of your soul and your laughter and how we lived and enjoyed our life. And by your passing also gave me the opportunity to look at spirituality and to question and to wonder and to use an imagination that I never thought I had.
So real quick, going back to that shot of the sunrise, I had another camera on a tripod filming the sunrise so I can cut to it whenever I needed. And then I was using the FX6 to film him. And then I actually had filmed an entire scene midday of them on their porch having a conversation about like this poem that they read, because they read this book together every day and they read poems from it. And they read a poem and they reflected on it and everything. And I filmed that whole scene of like back and forth to them. And I think I had it to about 1 minute and 15 seconds, because the film could only be, I think, 6 minutes long. And I was given some feedback to take the scene out completely and just show, you know, him with this, with his new girlfriend that he's moved on from the loss, you know, but he's never forgotten about Connie. And I like that. I think it's more powerful. And this Jeep that we're in, she actually borrowed from her son. It's not their Jeep. I was asking them if they had a convertible, and they didn't. And I just really, there's the porch scene. But I just really wanted a convertible.
You knew in your heart that I needed to find someone to live out the rest of my life with. You were right.
So the part where he says, you know, I needed to find someone to live the rest of my life with, that was actually recorded in his garage, because I knew that I wanted a scene with him acknowledging that she, because he told me that she told him that he needed to move on after she passed away, and that she was, you know, okay with it, and she didn't want him to be alone. He told me that, and instead of doing it in like an interview style or whatever, you know, I wanted to just record the line. So I recorded the line, and then I wanted him to kind of like feel her presence, so to speak. So like I had, you know, them pull off on the side of the road, and like he's just looking out at the, you know, the sun kind of getting ready to set, and looking at the clouds, and he's just thinking of her, you know, like, you know, I've moved on, and you were right and everything. And then this location with the pond, I knew about also. And the woman, Butch's girlfriend, Paula, she actually knows who owns the land. And I've been here before to do some like wedding photos years ago. So I already knew like kind of certain shots that I was going to get and everything. And so for this part, like, there was a lot of inspiration from Lance Oppenheim's style. I just wanted to try it out, because I think that it's important that we always imitate people's styles that we like. We have to question, like, why do we like that style, for one? And because obviously you don't want to just copy a filmmaker's style just because it's popular or other people like it. Like, you have to like it, right? And I just wanted to try it. I wanted to use some very retro sounding music that wasn't necessarily, I guess it wouldn't be most people's like first pick. I wanted it to be, you know, just different. And so I went with that music, and also the music that I selected. All of the music in this film is all from the same artist and the same album. So it all kind of cohesively goes together. You don't always have to do that, but I just kind of liked it for this short film. And then for this, we had to like move her couch out from behind the wall so I can get a shot from behind them of their head, so I can do like a match cut of them from behind on the bench, because I knew that I was going to do that to end out the film. I had planned a lot of the film before we shot it. So like, you know, I pretty much, I had an idea of what I was going for, right? Like, he goes and speaks with his dead wife, and then but then he has this new love, and they spend the day together, and it shows that you can still find happiness after loss, and that you know, it's just a part of life. And so I had planned all of this out. And then here, I had them watch something else because they weren't laughing enough. I think they were watching like, I don't know. People are going to know what that show was. I don't know what it's called. But they weren't laughing enough when they were watching that. So I was like, what kind of comedians do you like? Like, who do you really like? And then I was like, could you put that on? And then they started watching a comedian here. And then I just, stood there and waited for them to laugh. And then every time they laughed, I would do some push-ins. And I probably did like 6 or 7 and then chose the best one. But yeah, that was the commentary for Second Sunrise. So thank you so much for watching. I will probably do this again, maybe for some of my other projects. I probably will. I think it's fun to do. But if you have any other questions, message me on Instagram. And other than that, I really appreciate you watching. Keep creating and, make films that you want to make, and who cares about the audience? I mean, we're not going to make money making these films, right? Like, the work that we do, that we get paid the most for, we don't show people really. Like, that's the work that keeps us afloat, that, pays the bills. But the work that we really want to do, we rarely get paid for. So, and that's okay. We just have to acknowledge that that's how it is. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Love you and have a good day.